we're so honored to introduce His Excellency Dr. Ali Al Nuaimi, who is a member of the UAE Federal National Council for the Emirati of Abu Dhabi and the chairman of the Defense Affairs, Interior and Foreign Affairs Committee at the Council. Welcome. I want to ask your general thoughts about the UAE's strategic interests in the region. Currently, we're at a time of enormous flux. The UAE needs to balance its strategic relationships with the United States that is seemingly non-committal in the region, at the same time increasing involvement of Russia and China. In turn, Russia has to balance relations with Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE, just as Saudi Arabia and the UAE are walking that tightrope between a non-committal US in the Middle East and maintaining ties with an increased Chinese and Russian presence in the region. Dr. Al Nuaimi, I'd be very interested to hear your thoughts on the UAE's strategic interests in the region. Thank you so much for attending.
Well, first, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity, to speak today. Actually, I think it's very important, when you talk about, security, when you talk about strategic interest in the 21st century, that you understand, you can't protect your national interest unless you understand also the interests of others in the region and globally, actually. And you do your best to accommodate other interests, where you will, you work on a strategy that creates a value and share it. When it's come to the UAE, we believe that, there is no such a thing that you can say it's a Gulf security without looking at the broader region and the global also security, the international community security. And this is why, the UAE actually, in the policy and the strategies that, we developed internally and externally, we focus on certain things. One of these things actually to promote coexistence, either within the UAE, large community, for different communities with different background, different religion, different nationality, different ethnic, different color, or even in the region also, to send a message that, coexistence and respect to others and acceptance of others is crucial and very important, and that the region won't be able to enjoy security and stability unless we come to this, because we look at diversity as a source of strength and work on, promoting the common value that bring us together. So it's very important not to just look into things that, of conflict or things that divide us. We have to invest in things that will bring us together. We have to invest in building bridges of respect and trust, between different countries in the region and globally. And this is where, we in the UAE, we feel that, we can play a role regionally and globally. If you look at our region, it is a very conservative region. We are a young country, we are a small country, but we were able to come a long way to make this achievement, where we are having 200 nationality, a very diverse community, a freedom of religion for all these Christian sectors, Jews, Hindu, Buddhist, Baha'i, ICD, you name them. They feel here that they can worship their religion as it is. And here, we feel that this is an accomplishment that we need, to copy it in other places in our region, actually. And this is where we feel that the UAE were able, because of our investment in our educational system, in the reform that we did related to the religious narrative, and also the understanding of the geopolitical issue and challenges in our region. We believe that, peace is the right path for all of us. But at the same time, we acknowledge that we can't exclude any country. We believe that we should include everyone. We should show everyone, every country, every community in the region, the added value of engagement, of dialogue, of peace. And this is where, we feel, what's happening now between conflict in the region or globally, actually. We want to be part of the solution, not to be part of the problem. And this is where we see the advantage of the UAE as a country who believe in peace, who promote peace, who are willing to engage to bridge the gap between, different countries, different community. And because of our achievement internally in the UAE, and utilizing all these different community to work together, to live together in peace, and enjoy security, stability, and prosperity, we feel that we should use the same approach in the region. And this is where, we adopted the strategy of trying to work on de-escalation of problem and conflict in the region. And the main initiative that we are really proud of, actually, is the Abraham Accord. We feel that the Abraham Accord is an agent of change, not only for our relation with Israel, but for the whole region. And it is a model that we feel that the international community should support regionally and should also adopt internationally. And this is where we believe, engaging in everyone, with everyone, in a dialogue, sitting on the table, listening to them, giving them the opportunity to hear about us from us, and also trying to know them, from their side, themselves telling us what they are, and try to bridge the gaps and look into things that will serve the common interest of everyone. The problem is this. Many in our region, they don't share this vision with us. And this is where we need the international community to support us. We need the engagement. And when you mention that, the Americans are leaving the Middle East, I think, I don't believe that this will happen at the end. Maybe it's part of a policy for the new administration. But, the Middle East, if the Americans leave it by their will today, they will create a gap that will be filled by others. And later on, the American will be forced to come back, and look into their interest and the security and stability of this region. Because the Middle East is either it will be a hot spot where the world will enjoy prosperity, will enjoy peace, or a hot spot for terrorism, extremism, and conflict. And that will affect, everyone in the international community, especially the United States and others, actually. So, I believe the strategy that we need the US to be part of the engagement in the region. We need their involvement. There is a history, and we want to build on that history, and we want to learn from our mistakes that happened in the past. So the American engagement will add value to the American and to the region. And this is the way that the UAE look at how to deal with the region, and also with the other powers at the international level. We want the engagement of everyone, but it should be an engagement based on building security, stability, peace, and prosperity for all. We don't feel that, we want to be a part of a conflict. We shouldn't side with anyone. We should be the bridge that bring others together. And this is where I believe the UAE and Israel can play a role in this regard. This is, a general introduction about what I said. The main challenge that I see, actually, the narrative, that the hate narrative, the terrorist groups, the proxy that Iran are using in Iraq, in Syria, in Yemen, in Lebanon, and in other places. I look at the involvement and the engagement of the Iranians through this proxy, as a very risky and dangerous, not only to the security and stability of the region, but also I see it as a threat to the international community security and stability. This is what I have in mind now.
So may I ask then, what are your thoughts then about not only the local regional actors, but also broader geopolitical actors such as Russia and China entering the region? Do you find this a problem? Is this placing the UAE on kind of a dichotomy?
Well, you see, we decide what kind of involvement and engagement Russia and China is doing within the UAE, and we think other countries should do so. We don't believe that we should exclude China or Russia from the region. They have an interest here. We should work wisely, and I think this is where I said I think the UAE can be a bridge where the US, China, and Russia can look into a common interest in the region, and this is why I put UAE and Israel that can play a role in that, because both countries has a good relation with the US and had the same relation with China and Russia. So trying to exclude a power that will put us as part of the problem instead of being part of the solution. I think the world need security, need stability, and need peace, and we won't be able to achieve that unless we accommodate all interests and build on the common interest. If we try to side to the US against China or the other way, I don't think that's wise. I don't think that will serve the international stability and security. And I am sure later on that the US and China, they will come to a point where they will work together. So we don't want to be left behind. We want to be part of the solution, because at the end, I am sure that the US and China will come to a solution that will serve their common interests.
History has never been as optimistic as you portray, but let's just hope.
Yes, but you see, I believe, we shouldn't just be watching what's happening. We should engage, in trying to, build these bridges of respect, of trust, of engagement, of dialogue. And this is what we are trying to do now. And I believe our friend, the Israeli, the Singaporean also are doing the same thing.
Let me see if anybody else would like to ask a question very briefly. We don't have much time left in this forum. By the way, Dr. Nuaimi, while we wait for people to perhaps pose any questions, if they have any, what's the sentiment now in the UAE regarding Iran? Do you see a more emboldened Iran because of what's happening now between Russia and Ukraine? Do you see an emboldened Iran because of the Biden administration perhaps making many concessions? and what's the sentiment within the UAE regarding this?
Well, you see, the problem is you know, when we sometimes they say when you start with a platform that is not right, you end up with bad result. I think from the beginning, the GCC country should be involved in the negotiation with Iran. And what the Biden administration promised at the beginning and later on, you know, they didn't follow what they promised about the engagement of the Arab countries, especially the GCC, in the negotiation with Iran. We see now that, you know, Iran will take advantage of what's happening in Vienna. Going back to the nuclear treaty that was in 2015 means that, you know, this agreement will end in 2025. And Iran, you know, will be rewarded to go back to that agreement by getting, you know, billions of dollars. Our concern that these billions of dollars will not go to the Iranian people, will go, you know, to continue developing the drones, the long missiles, you know, supporting these terrorist groups in Iraq, Hezbollah, Hamas, Al-Houthi, and others. And this is, you know, this agreement will not, you know, help and participate in creating a region of peace and security for everyone, including the Iranian. If we, you know, just acknowledge and respect that agreement that was signed in 2015, because 2025 Iran will be, you know, we won't be binded by this agreement anymore.
Very, very quick question, just in order to wrap up, is by Benjamin Bilski, who wrote here, the UK Department for International Trade is launching the free trade agreement negotiations with the GCC and is also working to upgrade the FTA with Israel in the year ahead. Is there more the UK can do regionally in support of the Abrahamic Accords? We only have 2 minutes.
Well, I think the UK and the European and also Biden administration, they have, you know, a lot of things they can do to support the Abraham Accord and peace in the region. What I believe in is this, you know, unfortunately, still the European and Biden administration, they went back to the old policy dealing with the region. They didn't acknowledge, you know, the change that the Abraham Accord added to the whole region. They don't acknowledge that the region has changed. The Arab youth especially, even the Palestinians, are fed up of wars and conflict, and they are victims of extremism, and they look forward for peace and peace for all. And this is where, you know, I expect that from the this administration and from our European friends, especially the UK, we need a real engagement to look at the region. Yes.
My apologies for disturbing, because the session is going to come to an end. Very much appreciate your presence and your thoughts. Thank you so much, Dr. Al-Nuaimi. We deeply appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.